Ooh, well, welcome to TwoSun Tuesday. Yeah, this video should be going up on Halloween. But I am recording it in advance. A lot of times I would probably have brown and yellow fingernails, or black or yellow, or black and orange, or whatever, for the season. But you know what? It's a little bit too early, so I'm just going to go ahead and not do that for a while. Besides, my fingernails have been doing all right lately, so I haven't really needed the reinforcement that I end up getting out of it. Anyway, all of this is not important. We're here to talk about a knife. And that knife today is this guy. It's a new one from Keanu Alfaro here. This is a TS409. This one in particular is number 29, and this one is in D2 steel. Alfonso Alfaro's pretty interesting. He's gotten some other knives. He's kind of branched out a bit from just TwoSun, having I think the Best Tech Good Boy kind of come out rather recently, um, and he's also got some interesting stuff coming up from Boker Plus, which looks like it's probably part normal knife and then part uh, replaceable blade utility sort of knife and the same handle sort of thing. Looks pretty interesting. Yeah, overall, pretty interesting fellow. Kind of an MBA that also does some knife designing on the side, and a lot of his designs are pretty darn good. And he's done some pretty good ones with TwoSun here. How does this one stack up? Maybe not my favorite, and we'll go ahead and cover that. So, yeah, let's go ahead and take a little bit of a look here. So, this guy is a full titanium construction here, and it's one of the button locks. To me, it reminds me quite a bit of this guy here, which is one of my favorite TwoSuns, and it's also a Keanu. This one was one of the first ones that he released. This is the 358. This one I liked enough that I actually had skiff bearings in there. Same kind of pocket clip sort of thing going on here. It is a titanium pocket clip, but it's not fully milled. It is much more of a stamp sort of thing. They are the same. Yeah, they are. But you can swap them over to the other side. I will say that I have actually bent this one out of shape once. You can see just a little bit of a warping there for me, bending it back into place. It is what it is. But yeah, this knife is quite fantastic. And this one has a little bit of problems that I want to go ahead and talk about here. The first of which, something that this one really didn't seem to have, was the blade edge came way too close to the top end here. Part of that is due to blade stock thickness that TwoSun does on almost all of their knives, which is like 3.8 millimeters or thicker. This one's 3.8. But they also undergrind their knives so that they just stick up way too much here. This one was enough that I decided to take matters into my own hands and basically took a lot of steel off, basically from here down to the end here. It did have a sharpening choil, but after I actually pulled it down to where it needed to be, I ended up actually cutting a little bit more of my own using a little carbide cutter tip here on my Dremel tool. And so now it's not really up there, so that's good. I fixed that, but out of the box, this thing, it can bite you on the backside there. So this thing does have some nice jimping on it. That's good. But the handle flares out a little bit here, and it seems like you would want to either be behind it or fully get over it, and I don't quite get either of those kind of things out of it. So for me, I think personally, I wouldn't mind this part here being kind of flush with the blade. Maybe like how it was done on the 358 here. However, this one does do a better job of sharper and larger jimping than this one does. That is something that I will definitely give it some nice credit for. And this guy does have some milled sections on the blade to kind of give it some grip. And to me, it doesn't really add a whole lot, except for it does feel like almost no matter where it is, if you're going to use this for a long time, you're probably going to end up with some hot spots that end up forming because these guys don't just stop at the front; they are on, the bottom and the top as well. And yeah, you can start to feel those over time. Unfortunately, it's not the best thing in the world, but I don't know, maybe not absolutely a deal breaker either. We do have some nice weight relieving going on the inside here, so we do have milling done on both sides there. The button lock ends up working out quite well, and we have their standard titanium thumb studs that TwoSun uses on a lot of things here. They slightly sink into the handles there, but yeah, it ends up working out all right. Maybe a reverse flick. It's certainly easy to do, but somebody might think that they're a little pointy for that. But yeah, that ends up working out quite well. But as we'd seen on this previous guy here, you honestly don't even really need those. It is nice to have a different way to deploy it, especially because I always like a good, nice thumb stud deploy. But yeah, there we go. Yeah, just checking over some notes. Sorry about that. So yeah, this guy is fairly large. Let's see how large we got going on here. For the whole blade, we're looking at what 21 and a half, 21 and a half centimeters, or like 8.5 inches overall. So not absolutely monstrous, but this guy still has a 3.87-inch blade on him, which means the handle to blade ratio is done pretty well on it. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff about this guy overall. However, I will say that almost everything that was done here, outside of maybe the top jimping, was probably done just a little bit better here with the TS358. So if you do have an option between the two of them, I would really suggest this guy. It doesn't really have much of that snaggletooth kind of thing there. We still have the reversible pocket clip to them. We don't have the thumb studs, but of course we don't have thumb studs getting in the way of some of the cutting path there. We still have a nice ergonomic handle that has plenty of grip from the jimping on the titanium here. And pretty close to the same kind of actual cutting profile. This one was, a little bit rounded that I've flattened off when I was removing much of the blade that stuck up too far there. So, between the two of them, I really think this is probably the superior one. But, there you go. It still is nice and fun to use those thumb studs on there. And of course, they are titanium, so if you want to anodize them a different color, you might want these thumb studs to be green and then a bronze or something like that on there, and who knows what for the pocket clip or the backspacer or whatever. You can end up doing all that sort of stuff. That pocket clip ends up working out quite well, but you do have to be cognizant of it in the same way that you would from pretty much any other kind of steel pocket clip. They're just not quite as strong as a titanium milled pocket clip, but that does give these things a leg up by being able to reverse that pocket clip. And it's probably much cheaper. You could probably end up getting replacements from these from TwoSun if you ask them, in case you ended up messing them up or something like that, since they're available on multiple models. So, yes, this is the TS409. It's interesting. However, I think it was done just a little bit better. All of that kind of redundant stuff aside, let's go ahead and do some blade size comparisons on them like I generally do. And it's pretty darn close with the Manix 2XL, like I was saying. It does have a little bit better blade to handle ratio sort of thing than that Manix does. Here we are with the Spyderco PM2, which also isn't all that bad there. see, let's stick with Spyderco for a little bit here. We got the Endura 4, which is pretty darn close as far as ratios go. There's the PM3, much smaller, of course. Alright, let's jump over for some Benchmates here. We got that one, which is the Griptilian, that's the word I'm looking for. And we got the 940, there we go. Pop that Rat 1 up there, in case someone actually cares about the bug out compared to this guy. Much different size class, of course, but hey, still a familiar blade to a lot of folks. As is this guy here, a little Civivi Elementum. So, alrighty, we have all of those blade size comparisons taken care of. But if I actually go ahead and talk about the actual stats that we got here for it. So I did mention 3.8 millimeter blade stock thickness. We got a 3.87 inch blade from the scales out there. It's going to be 98.2 millimeters. We have 0.62 of an inch for the handle thickness here, or 15.8, so quite a bit thicker than a Spyderco PM2. And the weight, we got 5.82 ounces, or 165 grams. So it's a little weighty, but it doesn't feel overly too heavy for the size of knife that it actually is. So, yeah, there we go. There's all of that. And, of course, we're going to go ahead and take them apart to take a look on the inside here. Quite easy to end up taking apart. Just got a couple screws here with some Chicago screws to match. And this one in particular has got the back spacer that will come out after that. And yeah, I put on a little bit of a Loctite after the fact. But yeah, let's go ahead and open them up. Yep, on the inside we got their standard bearings, standard bearing races. There's that nice thick stomp pen on there. There's the spring for them, and the good old titanium plunger cup, all that sort of good stuff. And we can see that they have done quite a bit of weight relieving going on the inside of this guy. So, not super crazy in the form of, yeah, just weight to what it is there. But there's a D-shaped pivot going on there, so that's nice. And it is on the show side, makes things a lot easier for me to put things back together. Speaking of, let's go ahead and do that by getting those guys back in place. And of course there. Yeah, I'll just leave that there. That's fine. Alrighty. So, in kind of that open position, I can have that there, and then get that nice spring all up in there. Put the bearing over, because otherwise that's it. And as long as you line things up alright and smush everything together, then you should be good to go here, as long as this screw doesn't stick to me. Let's go ahead and screw this. Sorry for it getting a little blurry there, but really did need to hold. Oh gosh darn it! Did need to hold the handle closed there to screw it together. Otherwise, the spring from the button lock would revolt on me and prevent me from actually doing what I wanted it to do. What I really wanted to do is let me actually get this stupid Chicago screw in there correctly. You know what? All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it the way that I want to do it. It might not be the best on camera, but it's all right. So I'll pull that guy back off. Shove that damn thing in there. And that one. And of course, the pivot actually gave me some problems there. Yay! We'll get there. Actually, gonna go ahead and grab one of these right now. There we go. That should help me out immensely. So there's that and that. At that point, I can close it. There we go. Alright, yep. So, fumbled that a little bit on camera. The detent might be just a little too tightened up there. Back that off just a touch. Yeah, we like to be good. Alrighty, so there we go. There's the TS409. It's a pretty good knife. I think Alfonso has probably done a little bit better job with this earlier design here, the 359, 358, sorry. But yeah, there's not a whole lot else really to talk about with it. It's fairly new. You know, at the time that I'm recording this, there's still a whole bunch of them that end up getting listed on TwoSun, TwoSun's eBay and all that sort of stuff, and it's probably already on some retail sites, rather if it's the Amazon reseller, Tangly or something like that, or possibly White Mountain Knives. I don't know if this one in particular has or not yet, but hey, there we are. That's everything I got to say here on the TS409. So, alrighty, as always, I appreciate y'all for watching, and have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, yo, and happy Halloween. Alright, catch y'all in the next one.